And when you look at each of these tiles, each one of these is going to represent a different question type, how to assess standards, right? So this first right here, OA1, you can see this is a yes, no question, multiple choice, multiple response. And this little number in parentheses tells you it's one format or one way to assess the standard, right? And here's OA1, a second question. Here's the second way. This is a word problem, right? Two very different approaches to determining mastery of the standard. Here's a third way, multiple choice, multiple response, and a fourth way. I want to point out that you look at down here at OA9, and there's 13 different ways that students might be assessed on that. And we like to ask our teachers, how confident are you that your textbook is covering all of the varieties of these standards? The answer is typically not entirely confident on that. So NextGenMath is a supplemental resource that's going to help bridge the caliber of questions and the content and the rigor in your textbook with end of year expectations. So teachers can supplement in intervention groups, small group instruction, problem of the day, and that type of thing with our platform. Now, let me show you the magic. This is why our teachers love NextGenMath so much, because we can just drag a question over here. And this little plus right here is going to add additional versions of that same question stem. As the author of this, I get to decide which standards go on there. And the other thing that I can do is hit this folder, and it's going to give me one of every question stem from this third grade OA1, which is a very important standard. And the reason it's so important is because it's multiplication, and everything builds on multiplication. I'm going to just call this assignment multiply, and then give you a quick peek on how this would look. The author, whoever's authoring this, all they have to do to print that is hit that print. And notice, remember, I hit that plus. I have 3 of the same type of question, 3 of the same format, 3 of the same question stem up here. And then that folder added this these different varieties. Now, if you have a cell phone with a QR reader available, you can take it out right now and actually take a picture. If you are doing that, let me know what you noticed. Get a video on how to solve the problem, right? A conceptual video. Great support for students when you want them using the paper pencil solving the problem, and you still want that digital support. Very useful. If a teacher were to send this home as homework, or if kids are working paper pencil in small groups and they need extra support, teacher's not available, they can get it through that video. Now this we call the I want more button. It's a refresh button. Take a look at this problem down here. When I hit the refresh button, let me know what you see. Let me hit refresh. What are you noticing there? Basically, we have these high caliber, rigorous questions. And what we're able to do with that refresh button is create unlimited versions. A lot of times they get data, they want to go back and reteach, but they just don't have the content. It takes a lot of time, heavy lift. So the data goes by, becomes postmortem very quickly, and then we haven't helped our students. With NextGenMath, you can quickly grab additional practice. This is a print example I'm going to show. Now, I keep saying teachers, but do know that as a principal, you are able to build any assignments in here as well. And at a click, you can send that assignment out to all students, certain groups of students. We do have something that we call a principal's challenge. Hopefully, we have a chance to work with your district. It's a great way to get students excited about math, and they're like, ooh, my principal sent me a principal's challenge. And it gets a lot of buy-in and connection with your students. So anyway, I did an online. Now let me show you what the online looks like. First thing that you get to do before you push an assignment out online is take a quick peek at the question types, right? The students will have access to video content on how to solve the problem if the author turns it on, right? If it's an assessment, probably don't want that video on. The other thing they could do is they can show their answers with this drawing tool. Now, what I'm doing right now as a student, when I submit it, my teacher will see all of my work, which is a great feature as well. So I'm going to hit assign. And I am authoring this, right? I got to pick the question stems, the standards. I get to focus on going for those gold. And then the other thing that's pretty cool is that you can push it out so all kids get the same exact assignment. Real ideal for direct instruction, teaching a standard for the first time, right? However, if I want to hit a retake on those same question stems, then I'm probably going to want to mix things up a bit so that students all get different questions from the same stems in a shuffled order, or I could just give it all in the same order, but they have different stems. So think about this. You've taught the standard, your teacher taught in direct instruction. Now she's going to hit a retake, which takes seconds, right? Different questions. Kids get together, they work in groups, they have video support. They all have the same question type, right? But different nouns and numbers. And so they can't do this. Hey, what's your answer? But they can have great academic discourse and say, how did you solve that problem? Right? It really levels up the conversations in your group instruction. So we love this feature. As I mentioned, you could either have the instructional videos on or off. It's up to you. And adding all. Now, if I'm at the principal level, I can add this to all of my students, and my teachers will see the data. If I'm at a teacher level, I'm just going to go ahead and send it out to my kiddos. So that's what I did just now.
Just on that instructional video, is that only a QR code, or did I miss it, or can they click on it as well? Because we don't have our phones out, so I just wanted to.
That's a great question. So if it's online, they can click on the video and watch it, and then if it's print, that's when they would access the QR code.
Okay.
Yep. Thanks for that clarifying question. Just think of the power of NextGenMath for a moment. Having even if it was just a problem of a day situation from the beginning of the year, right? Every day the kids are exposed to like 3 questions. What kind of outcome is that going to have for them in terms of their confidence and their familiarity with these question types by the end of the year? So you may be thinking, all right, so cool. We can create assignments really quickly that are aligned, that are rigorous, that have the variety of response types. But what does it look for data? And one of the goals of NextGenMath is that our teachers use data. We're data rich in education a lot of times and resource poor. I feel like we have data, right? You get your CAS data, you get your local assessment data, you get your textbook data, you get your unit data. The big question is, what are you doing with that data? What are your teachers doing with that data? And what we try to do is build our results out or data in a friendly way that allows teachers to address the unique needs of students based on those outcomes. Again, looking at those results, and the thinking is, how do we help our teachers use data, right? And what you can do in NextGenMath is in real time, the moment that the teacher hits submit, you're going to be able to get data on individual standards. And it's going to show you, first of all, the color coding, major standards, right? We want to know if our teachers are focusing on major standards. So here's MD1, it's a major standard, right? And then which of the question stems, and so instantly you can see the question stems. And then down here, this is the performance. How do my students do? They're doing really, really well on MD1, question stem 7. However, they're struggling a bit. This is a difficult question. And so maybe they're just not realizing that they can't find one yes. And then as a principal, you'll be able to look at your data, your teachers, and then drill all the way down. I'm a teacher, I got my data, and now what? What am I going to do to help my students? First of all, I can instantly see that on this question stem, these students incorrectly and these students correctly responded, right? And the students really struggled. I mean, students did great on this. Only Bobby Baseball missed it. And what I can do next as a teacher is I'm going to hit this blended learning button, and it's going to group my students by the question stems that they struggled with. And here's the preview of the question stem. I instantly have access to all of the students who struggled with that question stem, pull them back for some small group work. Let's practice the question together. As a teacher, I don't have to go searching. I have the resource at my fingertips. I can do my reteaching, my I do, we do, you do. When I'm feeling strong, like, hey kids, I think you have this. Now I want to push out additional practice. I decide anywhere from 1 question all the way to 8 questions. How many do I want them to practice? and then I'm going to assign it to them. So big idea is you have your data, the now what or the so what is let's turn it around and help our students grow, right? To respond to that data. Procedural fluency. What is procedural fluency? In the Common Core, you have basically your procedural fluency, you have your word problems, and then you have your performance task, your constructed response, right? We've taken procedural fluency to a level so that teachers can customize and think about 5 minutes of fluency a day, or you're just doing some fact practice. Teachers can come in here and all of the procedural fluency is aligned to your frameworks, right? So if you went to your California frameworks, like what do my kids need to know on these basic skills? It's already laid out for your teacher. So basically at 3rd grade, this is what they need to know. And let's suppose we're practicing our 7s and I want to push out an assignment. I have the choice to either push out these 10 questions, or I can head over into this advanced drawer and change things up. I want them to practice, see how far they can get on 100 questions. I want to mix up the layout. I'm going to change things with the answer format. And now I'm going to apply and show you what we did just very quickly. This is what my 7s assignment looks like now. This is a result unknown. That's a product unknown, right? And you can see how the questions are changing up. They're basically solving for exon problems like this, right? So I'm good with it. Love my assignment, ready to assign it. I hit assign and I'm going to do a time limit. I'm going to add it to my students. And now a lot of times teachers would want to have fluency practice every day. I'm showing you the retake right now. I just hit a retake. We already have for the 6th, we have our fluency. So now I want for the 7th. Now I have 2 days of fluency. And what we can do with this is we can monitor progress over time. One more retake. You get the idea, right? I can just keep hitting that retake and set up my procedural fluency for the entire week. Everything we have in NextGenMath is from kinder all the way to 8th grade. And your teachers have access to all of this content. So if your 4th grade teacher is noticing deficits at 3rd, 2nd, 1st, any of these grade levels, they have access. RSP teachers, SDC teachers, they love this. And the summary scores are going to show you growth from one take to the next, right? So here you have your first take, 59.4. The second take, they went up to 70.3. And you can filter by section, by student, by class. If there's multiple takes on this, you're going to be able to see all of the growth over time. And so that's a nice feature for a busy principal who just wants to check in and see how your students are doing. Our performance tasks are detailed. There's a facilitator's guide, and that facilitator's guide, they have great pictures. Again, they're scripted. All of our PTs are the same topic from K to 8, allowing for vertical articulation. Our partners have done tremendous with growth that's demonstrated on the CASP assessment. We have a lot of our partners who grew during the 2022 CASP when the rest of the state, the average growth in 2022 for math, and I say growth, it was a negative 6%. So most of...
I could show very quickly what an assignment looks like when it's pushed out from the principal's account. Would you like me to do that?
Yeah, great.
Okay, not a whole lot of relearning right here because Erin's done a nice job. I'm just going to click the principal's account right now. So imagine that you're a principal and you did what Erin did, which was, hey, I pushed an assignment out to the students. I'm going to click on results. This is a 4th grade assignment. I'm not going to go in too great a detail. She covered a lot of this, but what I want to highlight is over here on the left where it says all teachers. These are teacher classrooms. And so we can look across, we notice that on this assignment, this was a 4th grade assessment, and we had 7% growth. That means there's a retake, and we can look through and we can definitely see which classrooms moved forward and which ones didn't. What's interesting on the data is how we respond to that data that Erin highlighted. teachers can clearly focus on, and you can also focus, sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit. You can also focus your conversations on particular standards along with particular stems as well. So anyway, just wanted to highlight that this is the type of data you would be able to see if you pushed an assignment from your desk, or maybe you have a teacher, a coach, an academic coach could push this out as well. And not only the teacher, you could also drill all the way down to students as well. So just wanted to give you that as a highlight of how you could also monitor progress over time.
That's awesome, Yost. Thanks for sharing that. And I think we'll close with the next minute on a little bit of data. So we were really interested last year in 2022 to look at some of our partner success who were using NextGenMath during the pandemic. And we were very excited to see that despite the fact that overall in the state, there was a lot of decline, 5 to 8%. And we've seen as high as 40%. We have a great, we like sharing that data with our partners. And the Carver, this is a Compton school, right? Very demographic is mostly free and reduced lunch. Carver Elementary had 8% growth. This is Saugus, Cedar Creek. We see anywhere 0 above is great for 2022 when you're doing comparative data. Middle schools too. Some of the middle school principals might be going, well, it's a little bit more difficult in middle school. This principal, Patrick, when I went on his campus to do training, he's like, Erin, come here. I want to tell you something. We use NextGenMath. We put all of our other programs aside. We just really focused on it. And this was the outcome. He actually presented at AXA with principal, a couple of other principals in the Compton team. But anyway, you can just see, again, it's over here in the green that you want to focus on. Panama Buena Vista, longtime partner, Washington Elementary. We see ourselves as partners with you. So if you ever have questions or you need one-on-one support, Emily is a great support for that. We've set up office hours for our principals. So we're here for you, and we're excited to start this journey. And we thank you, Ricky, for the opportunity, and all of you for coming this morning, and look forward to just really slaying it next year in math. So thank you.